Good evening, good evening, good evening. Bills are 9-6. Snuck out of LA against the Chargers with a W, 24-22. Uh, Not as easy as most of us would have liked to see, but a win is a win, whether it's by one or it's by 100. Tonight, got my co-host in the building with me, James Mallory. Mal, say what's up, as we like to call him, the NFL pedigree.
What's up? What's up, everybody? You know we ready to talk that talk. You know we ready, y'all. Bills victory. It always is a lot better doing a show when we coming off a W. So let's get it tonight.
Tonight, we also joined by a good friend of ours, a guy, Devon D. Dot. Now, D. Dot, just give a little quick little 30-second thing about who you are, what you do, and how long you been a Bills fan, man. People get to know
Yeah,
you.
man. So first of all, I appreciate the opportunity, guys, man, to be on here with two legends, man, is spectacular. So, man, Devon Jones, born and raised Buffalo, New York. Everybody a lot of people know me as D Dot. Came up balling in the West New York area, man. Transitioned into some little league coaching, into coaching for the 7-on-7 UAS team. My man Jay Mal. And man, I love football, man. You know what I'm saying? Football is my first love right there. And glad to be on here to be able to talk some Bills with you guys, man. I've been a Bills fan all my life, man. It's Bills Mafia until the wheels fall off, man. So you already know what it is.
Right, and a lot of QB coaching experience. Like, this is our resident QB coach, we call it.
Oh yeah, man. Several years of coaching QBs. Was able to fortunate enough to be able to coach a few camps. The most recent camp was a showcase actually in Connecticut. We were able to turn up out there, man, and man, it was super dope being able to do that through UAS, and also some regional training through UAS as well as their in-house quarterback coach. So I appreciate you even mentioning that, man, and reminding me to mention that while we're on here, JT. That's why you got this. That's why you got this right here. Man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. But no, guys, like I said, Bills 9-6. Mal, I know you talked about all season. You spoke about just getting that was a 3-4 game winning streak.
4 games. That was my magic number for this team. Just get the 4 games. Get a 4-game winning streak going.
You said it multiple times. Said it multiple times this season. So now that we're at the 4th game, we've overtaken the 6th seed, and we control our own destiny with, if the Dolphins happen to lose against the Baltimore Ravens this week, we'd be playing a Week 18 game in Miami for the AFC East title, but possibly the number 2 seed as well. That's what you're looking for, right?
I mean, once again, I told everybody, people panicking and going crazy. They in our comments, JT, they on the page, straight panic mode. Fire McDermott, fire this person, all these crazy emotional ass changes, right? Everybody just relax. Let's let it all play out. Figure it out. We've been through the Bills who were 13-3 in the great record, right? It didn't work out the way we wanted it to. It's all about peaking and getting hot at the right time. That's all that matters to me moving forward. With any Bills team moving forward, getting hot at the right time, because that's all that matters. Long as you're in the playoffs, honestly, who cares? Who knows what seed the last 10 Super Bowl champs were, right? Dude, long as you in the dance in the show, handle your business there. Nobody cares what seed you are. Go take care of business. I was excited to see that they was able to finish that game. I would say earlier in the season we probably would have lost that game, but we found a way to win it. And what I'm loving is that we're winning games. We won in multiple different ways now. We've won games with our defense. We've won games with our running game. We've won games obviously with Josh Allen passing. So this team, to me, is ready and can be dangerous and potentially make a deep run. But this last game, man, they did it. And I mean, you got to give the Chargers props. They came out balling. And one thing people don't talk about is how difficult it is to play a team who had a coaching change, right? So there's really no philosophy that you really can go on, because you don't know what this head coach want to do. You don't know if he want to come out doing what they've been doing. Obviously, you're not going to do what you just got blew out by 40 points the week before, right? There's going to be some changes. And a team that has nothing to lose is the most dangerous team you can play. Them dudes have nothing to lose. All them dudes out there are fighting for their NFL careers, because what teams are going to do, including the Chargers. They're going to turn on the film and see the effort that those guys are giving out. So that's one of the most dangerous teams you want to play at this time of the year, and that's why you see so many upsets happening. So I was very, very excited and happy that we came out with the dub. That says a lot about this team, and now we're in great position to potentially win the division, but also clinch. Not well, win the division, yes, that's next week, but we could potentially clinch a playoff spot this week.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, clinching, there's so many variables. I'm not even going to go through it. It's like 11 different clinching scenarios. Listen, point being, win this game, get to week 18, and then talk to me about it. I'm not going to go through all these scenarios. we know what the deal is. Win out and you win, okay? But let's talk about this game a little bit. D-Dot, we're going to start on the offensive side of the ball, so I'm coming to you first. Obviously, Josh Allen this week, very efficient, 15 to 21, 237, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. From his quarterback play, what did you see from what he did in this game, and what did Joe Brady do offensively, calling for it to make the game easy for him to make him this efficient? I think he had a 91 QB rating this week as well.
Yeah, I loved Josh's maneuvering within the pocket. You know, if we look at, and we you guys both know, the NFL season is a long season, right? We look at week 1. How did Josh look? He looked, man, like he was seeing ghosts. You know what I mean? He was escaping the pocket a little too quickly. It seemed like he some of his keys, he was rushing through them a little bit. His feet were a little uneasy. And then you fast forward to this game, and his feet look way smoother. He was escaping to make a play. He wasn't just escaping because he felt as though maybe, you know, he was getting some pressure. He felt the pressure well. He escaped, and then he made a play. Like the throw to the Gabe Davis, man, is insane. It's just freaking insane, man. For him to be able to throw that on a rope. The one to Khalil Shakir, insane. Throw that off of your back foot. I don't know how far it traveled as far as air yards, but man, it's tough, you know, to be able to make that play. So I loved how Josh, you know, took his keys. He seemed calm. He never got too high, never got too low as far as his play. And even his mechanics, man, and how he is going through his progressions. As far as Joe Brady is concerned, I love how he calls the game, because at times that, you know, when Dorsey was there was a conversation as if you know, how could he play calls to reel Josh in, or to make sure that Josh stays within himself, right? And he doesn't get into the hero ball aspect. Josh went out there and he was a playmaker, but he didn't have the hero ball, oh, I've got to do this all on my own type of ordeal, man. So the way that Brady called the game, man, it just seems as though it's more to relax Josh and let him know, like, hey, you know what I mean? You got these playmakers, man, to remind him. And not to say that Josh isn't conscious of this, but you know what I mean? At times when you're that talented and you're 6'5", 250 dude, and it's like, oh, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's easy. You can see it. It's easy for him to be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna do it all, but you don't have to do it all. You know what I mean? So I love how he calls the game, and I love how Josh has even approached these games lately.
So one of the things I see from Josh is it seems like the shoulder may be getting a little bit healthier. Some of the throws he's making now were throws that he was possibly struggling with a couple weeks ago, or maybe not willing to make. And maybe this is the point in time where we're actually seeing, like, hey, Josh is starting to get back to being Josh, and that shoulder's feeling a bit better. I mean, he said coming out of the bye week, it felt a lot better. Now, obviously, we had the one interception. I like to see him, you know, be able to make that throw, you know, off 2 flat feet to Stephon Diggs crossing the field in that post route. But that's probably the only mistake of the game that you could speak about with this offense outside of James Cook. Now, I do want to bring you up, James, and talk to you about Cook, because something similar that we didn't see in the beginning of the year. Cook fumbles this ball late in this game, gives the Chargers the ball with very close to the end zone, with a chance to really overtake this game to build defense home to a field goal. They ultimately take the lead 22-21. But James Cook is back out there the next drive. Yeah. What is different about James Cook fumbling in this Charger game compared to James Cook fumbling in the Denver Bronco game, where we saw him sit for a couple of series? What's the difference right now?
I think the difference could be is multiple things. First, I guarantee you this. When that happened, when they benched him right earlier in the year for that, I guarantee you there's a situation that was happening in practice where he was careless with the ball. He was coached up on it, and he kind of shooed it, and it came back and bit him in the game. That's why he was benched. Not because of the fumble, but what led up to the fumble. That's the reason why he was probably benched. I guarantee if we was to find out why, that's why. It's not the result of it. It's how you got to the result is why he was benched. Now I guarantee you he's practicing harder. I guarantee you he's not probably reckless and careless with the ball in practice. And those type of things happen, right? And you can live with that as a head coach. Coaching football, all right, listen, make that up. You can live with that type of stuff. But if you're reckless in practice and you being coached up to do better and you're not, and then it comes back and bites you, that's one of the issues. But James Cook, my prediction is almost there. I predicted 1,200. I say he'll be a 1,200 yard back this year. People thought I was crazy, but he potentially could be that. He's definitely on track to hit that. So and I also wanted to comment about something with Josh too. And I was thinking about this the other day. Josh Allen is really going to take off when the Bills hopefully win a Super Bowl, right? And it's similar, but we're going to win the Super Bowl not because of his arm. We're going to win the Super Bowl because of a run game. Similar to what happened with John Elway. If you remember, Terrell Davis won that Super Bowl for them, not John Elway. And then when they came back and with the repeat, then Elway, he was able to throw a little bit more. But at the end of the day, Coach Rob Like has always said it. Basketball on grass is real, real cool, and it'll win you a whole lot of games, but it'll never win you championships in big games. Never. You got to get your hands in the ground. You got to get down and dirty. You got to run the ball and get physical. This was different about this team. I think when we do go really, and I think we're going to win multiple Super Bowls with Josh Allen. I really do. And the first one we do win is going to be because of the running game, not because of Josh Allen. And I truly believe that. And then after that, he's going to be the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL. And I truly, truly believe that. I had to say that because I thought about that the other day, how that kind of worked out for Elway. For years and years, he throwing the ball all over the yard, didn't win the Super Bowl. But when they relied on Terrell Davis, you got to the promised land. So same thing with we got Cook, Fournette, Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson. Use them to get to the big game.
And we're gonna talk about Leonard Fournette making his debut, what you guys saw, and actually, James Cook did go over 1,000 yards this week rushing. I think he sits at around 1,048 yards. First Bills running back to go over 1,000 yards since Shady McCoy, and I believe in 2020. So he gets that round of applause. Applause for our guy James Cook. But no, I think that the confidence they're showing in James Cook, I think that he's shown that he's resilient. I think that's the biggest thing from the Denver game to now is he got that tap on the butt from the coach and said, hey, you got to do better. But he responded. He never hung his head. He never moped around. And actually, you made a point when the Denver game after he made the fumble and he ran the ball that went short of the first down marker, didn't drive his legs, didn't fight for the first down. We haven't seen that again. So this is a guy that is actually taking the coaching. And honestly, one of the knocks on him his rookie season was the question of, was he taking to the coaching he was receiving? It seems like whatever happened is getting through to him, it's working. And I mean, we're reaping the benefits right now. But I will say about this game, didn't like the fact that we had no targets to any running backs this game. Out of all 21 targets, not one target went to a running back this game. All 21 went to the receivers and the tight ends. I don't think that this team is set up, especially and listen, we found Gabe Davis this week. He no longer in the milk carton for this week. But at the same time, this is not an offense that can go without targets to the running backs.
But let me ask this, JT. Do you think it got only 21 pass attempts, correct?
Yeah, he got 21. Yeah.
So that's only 5 passes a quarter. Mm-hmm. So if you kind of look at it, I don't think it's really alarming. To me, that don't bother me because it's only 21 passes. We're talking about 30 passes. I think that's a little bit different. Think about it. 21 passes, only 5 passes a quarter. That's not a lot of passes. That's not a lot of attempts. And then don't forget, you get the situational football where you're running it, different things happening. So, and then also Cook has been so deadly out the backfield. I'm pretty sure they probably game plan for that too.
They did, but I still feel you have to draw out of 21 passes, at least 2 or 3 passes have to be drawn out to the backfield at some point, because like I said, I'm glad that Gabe Davis had the game that he had. It was relieving to see. But at the end of the day, I don't trust him enough to not give no damn passes to the backfield. I don't trust him. I still don't trust him. Great game. And maybe in free agency when we choose not to sign him back, he has some big games in LA. Maybe that'd be a good time for him to sign with the Rams or the Chargers or somewhere down in the West Coast, because it seems like he plays better on that side of the coast than he does on the East Coast. You can tell his mom I said it, because I know she's still talking shit on Twitter. But I'm sorry. But either way, moving on. The defensive side of the ball. I thought that the defense came to play. I thought they flew around. Little bit slow start to this game. And like I said, I think that goes back to your point with you didn't know what you were going to see from the Chargers schematically. Hell, we never saw any quarterback runs drawn up for Justin Herbert. And why would you, right? So there was a lot of different things that the Charger offense did. I think they had us a little off balance. But overall, the Bills defense did a hell of a job. Easton Stick was 23 or 33 for 215 yards. That's not many yards per pass. Yards per catch. Austin Eckler, 15 for 65 yards, kept him in check. But the biggest thing I saw, Austin Eckler, only 3 receptions for 21 yards. That's where he kills you at. It's not necessarily I was running the ball. It's the catches out the backfield or the extension of the run game. D-Dot, I'm going to come to you what you see from the Bills defense this game. Slow start, but reeled it in and made big stops when they needed.
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned Austin Eckler, because, everybody was out. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, they're big weapons, right? And the person that not scared me, the person that popped up on my radar was Austin Eckler. You know what I mean? Because a dude, James talks about it all the time. He's always going forward. Always. This dude is always going forward. He's always getting positive yardage, man. And we've seen it before with, the Bills defense where, these scat backs, you know what I mean? They get the ball in their hands and then boom, it's 0 to 60 real quick. And then, what looks like a 5-yard gain is turned into like a 15, 20-yard gain. I love it. It seems as though everybody was doing their job. You know what I mean? And everybody, it didn't seem as though one guy was getting out of his rush lane and another guy was, doing another thing. Everybody was just working cohesively, man. And that's why I love football, because, you know what I mean? All 11 pieces have to come together. So even though it was a little bit of a slow start, it kind of comes into play where even you mentioned JT at the beginning, where it was just like, well, we as fans definitely didn't know what to expect. I can only imagine what coaching staff had to go through with game planning, not knowing what to expect with all the changes that they had. I think they had to get a rhythm, you know what I mean, and really try to find the vibe of what the offense was going to do and how they were going to attack. And then they were able to, adjust and then really put the clamps down. And then once they put the clamps down, you could really feel that momentum, you know what I mean, where it was like, all right, we know what we're doing. We know what you're trying to do. We know what we're going to do to stop it. Ball game.
Right. I just mentioned big game for Ed Oliver, 2 sacks, hit his incentive this week. Got some big money there. 8.5 sacks on the season. I said before the year, I'd be okay with the money they gave him if he gave me 8 sacks. Well, I got my 8 sacks. I'm cool with it. I'm good with it. I'm no more. You hear
y'all don't know. Everybody's watching. JT and I went back and forth about this when that happened. I was amped. I said that we got to steal. JT was he wasn't so for it. I told him Ed Oliver was gonna be a steal. JT, I'm gonna stay on you about this one.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I was not happy with the 66% guaranteed money. I wasn't. I didn't think he deserved the same guaranteed percentage as Dexter Lawrence and Quentin Williams, because I didn't think he wrecked the game as they did. Now, I'll say this. He still doesn't wreck the game like Chris Jones, like Quentin Williams, or like Dexter Lawrence. He's not in tier 1, but he's tier 2, and I'm okay with the contract.
I don't know. You know what? That's a debate, JT. That's really a debate right now this year, the way he's playing. That's a debate. I can't say he's tier 2. I can't say he's tier 2.
I don't know.
I cannot say
he's tier 2 the way he's playing. Man.
8.5 sacks outside of Aaron Donald. That dude is the best D tackle to ever play football. Outside of him, do 8.5 sacks from the 3 tech position. I don't think that's tier 2 at all. And then again, and other things he's done. If you watching the games, he's been consistent the way he's been playing. I can't say tier 2. It's a discussion to be had.
I mean, like I said, I'm gonna keep for now. I love how he's playing this season. I do, but I'm still gonna put him into. I'm not gonna put him up there with Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, and Quentin Williams because, like I said, as well as he's playing, and I know he has the sacks finally, and I'm glad he has them because we've been waiting since we drafted him for this number, right? This number of 7 to 8. To me, he still doesn't affect the game like Quentin Williams and Dexter Lawrence or Chris Jones. And Aaron Donald. I think those 4 are tier 1, and I think he's tier 2. And I don't know who's in tier 2 with him.
Well, JT,
go ahead.
Yeah, the thing though is whenever you mention Quentin Williams, though, let's look at who they have on that roster on the defensive front. Let's look at that. You know what I'm saying? They got some guys up front, right? Chris Jones, yeah. I mean, he's the start. He's the straw that stirs the drink of that defense. But Quentin Williams, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, and then plus also don't forget his starting one tech went down. Von Miller is a shadow of himself right now. You know what I mean? I mean, aside from who's actually been balling on defensive line for the Bills, Leonard Floyd.
Leonard Floyd, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like Ed Oliver's come through, man. He's come through. He's come through, and on a depleted line too.
Yeah, give me another season of it. Give me another season of it, and I'll put him tier 1, no problem. I need one more season of it.
Oh, you want consistency?
Because this is the first time we've seen it. This is the first time we're seeing it. Okay, one more season, and I put him in there. I have no issue with it. But what I will say about Quentin Williams is Quentin Williams is doing it without those guys on the D line with him too.
Quentin Williams, he's definitely elite. Like I love Quentin Williams' game, man. He can ball. Him, Chris Jones. I mean, all these dudes we name as ballers. Don't get me wrong here, but man, Quentin Williams is a different type of cat. But so is Ed Oliver. He's different than all of them, though.
Yeah,
he's a little different than all of them. Man, Aaron Donald. I think it's we can't even mention his name with none of them other dudes. That dude literally. He'll be like, all right, I'm going to get a sack this play and go get it. Like, that dude he's different.
So, I mean, overall, this game, like I said, I thought the defense did their job. They had 5 sacks. I actually didn't even check the time of possession. The Chargers actually controlled the time of possession this game with 33 minutes, which was very, very crucial for them. Kept them in this football game. And we talked about the Bills' last 3 games previous to this one where they controlled the ball 41 minutes more than their opponents, with Dallas, Philly, and the Chiefs. So, obviously, the Bills, 5 sacks that day, held the Chargers to 4-14 for third downs, and forced them to punt the ball 5 times. Only thing we don't like, we want to clean up the penalties. We had 7 penalties for 64 yards, 2 fumbles lost, and an interception. So, you put those things together to even come out of this game with a win in the NFL with those type of numbers is pretty solid. But we're going to move on to our next topic here. Let's see. We're going to move on to there we go. Leonard Fournette made his Bills debut. Now, obviously, it wasn't a whole ton of work, but I think it was enough work for us to see that he's healthy, he's ready to go. 5 carries for 20 yards. Actually got the first carry in the game in, I guess, true McDermott fashion. Now, I don't know what this is. I don't know if he's running Fournette in the first play of the game and Latavius Murray to set some type of tone to the game. I'm assuming what this possibly is. But we finally seen Fournette on the football field. I think it made Bills Mafia rejoice. Something that you caught what happened last week, James. We've been calling all season saying it's going to be the last 3 games of the season because it's the number of games with the call-ups. What did you see from Leonard Fournette in his Bills debut? And I guess the question would be, is he going to be a roster a lot moving forward, even when Ty Johnson heals from that stinger?
So, one, I did like how he looked. He didn't hesitate. He ran the ball effectively. People, you can't look at the stats. I'm looking at me as a running back. I'm looking how he's moving. I'm looking if he's hesitant, if he's pitter patting his feet, if he's doing that. That's what I look for as a running back. I don't care about the yards. That's gonna come. Long as he's running sure, reading his keys, lowering his pads, moving forward, I'm good with it. I love exactly what I seen. What I think they're looking at is for him being that number 2 guy with him next year. I think you may be looking at a backfield next year. I'm gonna bring it back though, but I think you may be looking at the backfield of Cook, Fournette, and I think you definitely signed Ty Johnson back, but you're going to draft somebody 6th, 7th round to be able to come in there and compete. That's my opinion. So or undrafted free agent,
Right.
But in regards to Leonard Fournette, I knew this was probably going to be the plan because think about this. Once again, emotional people. You're not thinking about football, just logic. Football, just NFL will make sense. Think about 3 games ago if you bring Leonard Fournette up and he looks good, right? You only got 2 more call-ups for the rest of the year for him. Now you're in a position where you're going to have to cut somebody to make a roster spot for him. Hot roster manipulation. What you can do is he's almost like an active player where the last 3 games of the season you can play him and it's a call up. He's still in the practice squad. You don't have to move nobody from that 53-man roster. You roll into the playoffs, you get an unlimited amount of call ups. So that just made the most sense for me. If you're gonna have somebody that you really want to use like that, you don't toy around with it 4 or 5 games ago. You weren't that desperate, right? 4 or 5 games ago, you do that. Now we looking stupid, like the emotional ass fans, like, oh well, we used all our call ups. Now you got to cut somebody. Who do you cut, right? And now you're in a pickle. So I don't think it was worth it. I think this was a smart move. Now you got a Leonard Fournette who has really fresh legs. He's way more comfortable with the playbook than he was when we first got him. And I think you can hit the ground running with him. And I honestly think you have Fournette, Ty Johnson, Murray, and Cook active for the playoffs. All 4 of them. You got 5. You roll with 5 wide receivers for the most part anyway. Hardy and Sherfield, they don't really get a ton of offensive snaps. So what you're going to do is you're going to run the ball a lot more, and then you're also going to be able to still use those guys. So I think he's a lot for the rest of the season and the playoffs. He'll be active every game, in my opinion.
All right, D-Dot, playoff Lenny debut. What you got?
Yeah, man. I agree with James. I was really looking for what he looked like as far as his juice. You know what I mean? I wasn't looking for him to knock out a 50-yarder or something like that. You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting that. If he did, cool. No, I'm not going to complain if he did. But him just hitting a hole. I remember there was the one, I think we were in the red zone, I believe. And I can't remember I don't think he punched it in, but he hit that hole though. He hit that hole. Like he squared up and he got north and south real quick, man. So I was encouraged to be able to see that. There's always this talk about his development with the passing game and things. I think that also come into play too. As the Bills continue. But I just wanted to be able to see. I wanted to see how he's going to jump right into everything, man. And James already mentioned it too. Taking in the playbook. I believe he had an interview where he was like, "Hey, you know what? I know the playbook. I'm good with it now." And that was like one of those things where the light, the light is about to go from red to green at the stoplight. Man, I was like, yo, that light seems like it's about to go green now. You know what I mean? Because players don't give, especially within the Bills organization, they don't give too many keys where it's like, all right, yeah, I'm about to ramp up without really there being anything behind it, right. With this order. So I loved it, man. I loved it. And I think he'll continue to develop, man, and it'll be super dope.
All right, I have to agree with both of you guys here. I think that moving forward, from the small sample size that we saw, he needs to be on this roster moving forward. I think that he's a bigger back. And he offers you a little bit more than I think Latavius Murray can offer you at this point in time. Plus, I think that we forget that Leonard Fournette has well-rounded himself and receiving the ball at the backfield as well. And he's pretty great. Yeah, and he's pretty solid at pass protection. So when you start thinking about the playoffs, and we haven't got that bad weather game in Buffalo yet, really. We haven't seen it yet. So assuming that we win this next game and assuming that we beat the Dolphins, it's easy to assume that there may be a bad weather football game coming to Buffalo fairly soon. Okay. With that being said,
crazy thing though, JT, here in Buffalo, the weather been crazy nice.
Right. And this is when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
When you're out there in joggers and a tank top jogging around, the next day the next day you get a blizzard and you're stuck in house and you can't move for a week. This is exactly the moment in time when it happens. So the fact that you got 60 this weekend, I think you may have 6 feet next week. I don't know. That's what happens is Buffalo.
The game, I think, is projected. This game this weekend is projected to be, I think, 38 degrees.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's just like Lenny. The weather's just revving up. It's revving up to change. It's gonna come. So I think that moving forward, he should be a roster lock. You should call him up these next 2 games, and in the playoffs, he should be active on that roster. Now I don't know if that means you have to sit a Tim Settle or sit a defensive lineman or sit an extra linebacker or something. What you got to do, but he needs to be on this. He needs to be in this lineup because God forbid, okay, God forbid something happens to James Cook, a hamstring, anything. And I knock on wood. I'm not banging that, but I'm just saying, where is the juice going to come from? We don't know what Ty Johnson is with over 20 carries. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Well, Tavius Murray is 33 years old. We know in NFL years, you might well be a senior citizen with that at that age. We don't know how much juice going to be in them legs after 15, 20 carries. So I think that moving forward, God forbid something happen, Fournette needs to be in this lineup moving forward for the rest of the season. Speaking of that run that you had, I was hoping he made it into the end zone, but he hit the hole quick, like you said. He squared up, he got there. And I think he was about a half a yard from getting the touchdown.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
So even on those runs that we gave to Murray in the similar situations, Murray got him in a lot of them. Fournette just hit that hole that much faster, and that's the difference. And when we talk about James Cook and hitting the hole that much faster, that's the difference between James Cook and Zach Boston and Devin Singletary. That's the difference between 2 yards and 10 yards.
Yeah.
So I think that he should be a lot moving forward, and I think that the Bills, I think you've been right about this all along, James. I think this was the Bills' plan, and they executed it. My only worry before was, what if you have lost one of those games to the Chiefs or something like that? We're talking about a whole different scenario right now. Did you wait too long? So, yeah. Right now, I'm cool with it.
I mean, the craziest thing, even if you did lose, luckily we didn't. Even if you did lose to the Chiefs, we win these last 2 games, still in the playoffs. You still possibly, and look at other teams' records. One of those losses really still wouldn't have killed us. Yeah. It would have hurt, but it wouldn't have killed us.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like I said, it's interesting. I'm glad to see him out there. I think it added a different dynamic. And I think, too, as opposing team, everybody know who Leonard Fournette is. We've known Leonard Fournette since Leonard Fournette was in college. His name was always rung bells. When you see him on the other side of the field with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, it's going to do something to you mentally.
He's elite. I mean, he's well respected around the NFL. What he ran for? He ran for 8 and caught for 6 last year. So he's still a productive NFL running back. It's not like he had a terrible year. We're talking about a dude who did very, very well last year for Tampa, right? But you know how running backs can be. Sometimes they just don't work out, right? But I think, and don't forget, he's only 28 years old, 27 or 28 years old. 28. He's a number 1 recruit in the country coming out. He was the number 1 running back in the draft coming out, and he has always been productive in the NFL. Now, there was times where they say he came in overweight, whatnot, but at the end of the day, there never was really any fall off from his production, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, when we talk about 6 touchdowns, the touchdowns he had last year and being overweight, I mean, he spoke on that where he said he had off-season surgery. And he couldn't work out, and that's why he came in overweight with the Tampa last year. He just couldn't get it going. But like I said, you talk about you said 14 touchdowns?
Was that
the 14 touchdowns last year with Tampa Bay?
I don't remember how many. I don't think it was that many, but I know he had. I believe it was 800 rushing, 600 receiving. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the number.
And that's a down year.
Yeah.
That's a down year. So that shows what kind of talent he is. So I think moving forward, we don't need to discuss this anymore. He needs to be on this lineup for the next 2 games, 2 call-ups. I don't care who you sit, you figure it out, but he needs to be up. The other story of this game was, hey, look who we found, Mom. It's Gabe Davis.
JT is a fool.
He finally showed up.
Oh, man.
You know, man.
When he shows up, man, when that dude shows up, it's seriously like when he shows up, he shows out. It's either he's not there or he's balling out. And honestly, if Gabe Davis is playing the way he's playing, right? Think about how much of a headache. If you're a defensive coordinator, right? You got to plan for Josh Allen, arm and legs, Cook, Leonard Fournette, Ty Johnson is running the ball effectively. I don't think you game plan for Murray. So just being honest.
Right.
Then you got Kincaid and Knotts that you have to respect because Knotts is due for a big game too. He's due for one. And then you go Gabe Davis, and then you go Diggs. I mean, I think that's a headache for defensive coordinator.
It is, and you're right, and you called it. You said he was gonna have a big game. I mean, this is what he does. I didn't disagree with you. I just wonder when the hell it was gonna come. And we had 4 games this season with 0 catches and 0 yards. So I mean, he has a lot of game to ground the game in this season. So, but hey, D-Dot, Gabe Davis 4 for 130 and a touchdown, and then he proceeded to jump on Spencer Brown's back and ride him like a horse, and then he did a dance. And it must have, he must have been choreographing that shit for like 5 minutes because it was well played out. Just saying.
Oh man, yeah, man. I think like oftentimes that outburst of like a positive energy or even negative energy a lot of times can be like just a weight being lifted off one's shoulders, man. You know what I mean? I think Gabe was I think he was at the point where he was alleviated. Excuse me, he was the pressure was alleviated. Excuse me, he was elated. And then it just came out, man. Because I mean, dude, jigging in the end zone and everything like that, like you mentioned, jumping on Spencer Brown's back. Spencer Brown's like 6'8". You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You galloping with this dude along the end line and all that, man. But like James said, man, that's tough to be able to guard this team and be able to game plan for this team. Because I mean, if you just look at all the areas of the field you got to guard, you know what I mean? We know that Gabe, he's more of a vertical guy. So you got, you know what I'm saying, more of a vertical aspect. Then you got Diggs, you know what I'm saying, who could work all levels of the football field. We already know he eats short to medium though. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Kincaid, if you know what I'm saying, if he's healthy, being able to work the middle, the seams, all of that. Then you got James Cook with the flats. We talked about Leonard Fournette being able to hit the flats. James Cook even able to go vertically too. It's insane, man. Like I would not want to be a defensive coordinator trying to plan for the Buffalo Bills as they are right now. Oh, we didn't not even to mention Josh with his legs. How, you know what I mean? Malin and JT, you mentioned it too. Like that's insane, man. It's crazy. Like there's no way. The only question is, would Josh be able to check into the right play? And so far, he has been able to. Joe Brady has been good with having the correct plays of how defense is going to guard them. They hit on all cylinders, man. It'll get scary for other teams. It really will.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that too. I do.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. It is nice having a number 2 receiver in the NFL.
The one thing, JT and Mal, I will say is this though. I really wish that Joe Brady would get Stephon Diggs into more stacked releases. I really wish he would do that because if we see that ball that Josh even got to Shakir on that slant, man, that and even though it was behind him, Shakir made a hell of a catch. Diggs in like that more of that short motion, you know what I'm saying? Stack, let him clear out. Boom, he comes up underneath, get the ball. I think that's a good way to be able to get him going. And I will hope that Joe Brady instills that in the next couple of games coming up.
And we're going to get to Stephon too, because I actually that's going to be one of the topics tonight for sure. No, I mean, it was nice. I'm happy that Gabe had a big game. I'm happy that he showed up. I'm happy that he had his touchdown dance choreographed from week 3. But with that being said, no, I mean, listen, man. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy he showed up, but I'm not convinced that he's going to show up again.
And it's frustrating, man, because he's one of the better number 2 receivers in the NFL. He is. Yeah. I mean, being real, he's one of the better number 2 receivers in the NFL. If he just comes out, just don't. If he just don't disappear on us, I mean, that makes us a totally different team. Come on, Gabe, keep showing up. Keep showing up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think we're not asking for 4 catches for 130 yards and touchdown every week. We're just asking, just give us 60, give us 65. You know, it just seems like with this guy, it's all or nothing. And the problem is he ain't getting all of it the majority of the time. It's coming up nothing. You know, it's nice every once in a while you throw a strike, but if you're throwing gutter balls out there for 6 out of 10 frames, you know, there ain't no bumpers for you to put up in the NFL.
Yeah.
We need you to show up because, like I said, this is one of the problem with getting Stephon Diggs the ball is because you have not. So you're getting one-on-one coverage. You're going to get the matchup advantages 9 times out of 10. You got to take advantage of it. Now, mind you, on the one touchdown, I don't know how the hell the Chargers got him matched up with Killer Murray, a linebacker, but somehow, some way they did. And I'm glad he got the separation he did and got the touchdown, but I don't know how many more. Is New England going to make that mistake? Probably not. Is Miami going to make that mistake? Probably not. So I need you to show up versus teams that are not in disarray as well. And completely just, like you say, fighting for jobs, you know, I need to see more.
Can we be fair? The Chargers got some dudes running around there on defense, though.
Yeah, they've had dudes running around that defense all season, and they do, but they're 5-10 for a reason.
Yeah, and it's mostly because of inconsistency on offense.
No,
Khalil Mack is showing up every week.
They show up on the stat sheet every week, but they haven't necessarily stopped people all season.
Their problem has been the offense. I'm not saying the offense not throwing them a bone. We ain't gonna get too much in the Chargers, but my point is they got some dudes running around out there too.
And they do, and I'm not going to disagree. They don't have some solid players. There's no reason they're going to be $44 million over the salary cap next year. But my point is just, listen, I just need Gabe to show up these next 2 games. For the rest of the season, we can't have goose eggs because if we don't win it. If he has a goose egg next week, it's possible we could lose that game. If he has a goose egg versus Miami, it's extremely possible that we could lose that game. And if we make it to the playoffs, I'm not going to say it's a foregone conclusion, although it looks like we're headed that way.
You got work to do.
If we have a goose egg in the playoffs, it's very likely that we could be going home or staying home if it's a home game, whatever way you want to call it. So, like I said, once again, glad he showed up. It's about time. You know, we're talking about money. We're talking about free agency. We're talking about your 4th year. I'm glad he showed up. Great. I need more, though. I need more. Simple as that. So we'll talk about Gabe more next week. We'll see what happens. But moving on, obviously, I didn't change the score on this one. But the Bills are going to be playing the New England Patriots this week. And I have to ask the question, is this the week that Stephon Diggs snaps back? Obviously, there's been a couple games where most of the games have been like 5 catches, 6 catches, 30 to 40 yards. Not the average Stephon Diggs game or stats. But with that being said, he likes playing against New England, especially against the Patriots, especially since he's been in Buffalo. In the 7 games he's played, 6 games he's played, or 7 games he's played them, over 600 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns, and obviously crushing the Patriots is what he does, especially with that man defense that they like to run. So I have to ask this question: is this the week that he snaps back?
D-Dot, you go first.
Yeah, I think Stephon. I think with the man defense that they like to run, I think that Stephon is he's a good. It's a good matchup for him, in favor of him. Because if you think about it, even with Miami before Fangio got over there, he started going a little bit more zone. When they had who was it? The coach's name is escaping me, man.
Flores?
Yeah, Flores. Thank you. When they had Flores and they were running man, he was cooking Xavier Howard, man. He was cooking. He was eating his lunch. And Stephon, like we all know, he's a tactician with the route running. He excels in when he can actually pace his routes, set you up, boom, boom, and all of a sudden once he's here, 6 foot in the ground, then he's over here. We know he excels at that, man. And I think it's a good matchup for Stephon. Like I said, I would really hope that, if they have that bracket, where they got a safety trying to stay over top and trying to, bracket him with a corner or another DB. I really hope that Joe Brady gets him a little bit more, some more releases, get some more traffic in front of him, then let Stephon pace it and then find a hole or, and beat his man that's over him and then be able to make a play. I think that would be very good for him.
So I guess, do you think this is the week that it's going to happen? That we're going to get that 100-yard game or that encouraging 80-yard game, one of those two?
I do. It's a Patriot. It's also a Patriots team. I mean, everybody points to, it's a Bill Belichick coach team, but I mean, there's all these rumors that he may not be there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's be real. They're having a down year, man. They're just having a down year. They are not a good football team. I don't like to project this onto, because I'm not in the locker room. But listen, man, it may be a couple dudes. It may be like, hey, you know what? Just the end of the year, man. Let's get through the end of the year, man. I just want to be able to make it through healthy, so that they can make their move elsewhere or into the next season. It might be that aspect, or it may not. They may come out just like their hair on fire. But I think being home, the defensive scheme, and then also Joe Brady's willingness to be able to, to pivot to however defense are trying to defend the offense. I think all of those coming together, I think it helps Stephon have that marquee game we're looking for.
All right, James, coming to you. Do you think that this time around with Stephon Diggs, do you think that – well, I asked this. What do you think that the issue is with getting him involved with the game or getting him the ball deeper down the field? Because we do see at least 2 or 3 wide receiver screens drawn up to him a game now since Joe Brady has taken up to get the ball in his hands. What's the issue with getting him the ball where he likes it downfield? And obviously, there's some misplays too where Josh is just missing. They're not connecting.
Yeah, I was gonna say some connection issues. But also what I think it is our offense is more efficient because more people are eating. It's not a lot. The stats aren't lopsided like they would be. Stephon Diggs 115 and the next guy is 20, right? If you look at the stat book, it's spread around. I think that's why we probably having more success because so many other guys are successful. Kincaid, Cook out the backfield. Don't forget Hardy had that big catch, that big third down catch for us. So we got some other guys that's kind of contributing. I think that plays a part into it as well. And once again, just sometimes they weren't able to connect. I honestly think I'm not sure if we're gonna snap if there's gonna be a snapback week. The reason being, if we get up on these dudes, I think they're gonna bury them and they're gonna run the ball because they're gonna gear up for that Miami week. They're gonna try to get these dudes some rest. They're gonna try to get them out the game. I think he gonna light Miami up. Now that could be a game. I might say a dude may go for 120, 130. And I think Gabe Davis will show. I think them dudes gonna show the hell up in Miami because let's not forget what happened last year. They thought it was funny when they stadium is built to drain the visiting team. The dudes on this team ain't forgot that. So that game gonna be personal going down there. I think they're gonna beat the dog mess out them dudes. And I think that could be a game. I think that, to me personally, I think that'd be the real big game. I think he's gonna have a big game regardless. I'm not so sure about this week because the game plan probably would be get out of there healthy. Let's beat them down, get out of here healthy. Let's go on the next week and let's go into Miami as healthy as possible. I think that might be the approach. So you might see another 21 to 25 attempts by Josh Allen. I hope it could be, but I'm not so sure because of what the game plan could possibly be.
So I don't know what Stephon Diggs' contract is, but I will say this. There's probably some incentives in there for yardage. And normally with a receiver at his caliber, obviously there's normally a 1,000-yard incentive, and they're probably most likely a 1,200-yard incentive. Steph is at 1,070. So whatever incentives are built in, I'm pretty sure they're going to be eyeing that. And as if you know anything about Josh likes to ensure that his guys get some incentives. I think they're going to get him more involved this game. I think it's going to be a point. Obviously, Adam Schefter put the post there that said, hey, this is 9 straight games with Stephon Diggs to not get 100 yards following the win against the Chargers. And Stephon Diggs actually commented on it on Instagram if you guys didn't see it. And he said, yeah, it's crazy, but at least we'll win it. So obviously you can sense there's a little bit of frustration there, but at the same time, there's a little bit of elation because they're winning football games without him being the one to have to carry the receiving core or the offense on his back along with Josh. That being said, you should have no problem getting him the ball now, especially in these next 2 games. These are teams that you know well. You're favorable to teams, 2 teams that you played that you've never had the problem getting him the ball against before. So I think that if there's going to be any game that we say, okay, let's get these gears spinning again. Let's get this oil, these gears up there. Start to sign a little squeak a little bit. This is the game right here. beat New England, get Stephon Diggs involved, get Leonard Fournette more carries, get him ramped up and ready to go fully for the playoffs. I think you do those two things and you don't have an issue moving forward. So as far as snapping back, I do think this is the week that he snaps back. We love to see him go against J.C. Jackson. When he goes against J.C. Jackson,
oh yeah, another one he cooks.
Right. Is he gonna be healthy this week, or is he gonna be is he gonna be active this week?
I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, I know he has some mental health issues and some mental health stuff. They said that he wasn't playing.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I don't like making fun of mental health. I don't want to make fun of that. That's no.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if many people knew that, but that's what they said that the reason was. I'm not too sure, but I did hear that that's the reason why he wasn't active.
Oh well, I don't know. I mean, obviously we know he got into the issue. He was got caught with Jack Jones, whatever the team violation was a couple weeks ago too. So, sometimes we use the mental health thing for suspensions put you away from the football team for a little bit. You know what I mean? Just saying it happens. Not saying that's the case in this one, but I'm just saying he was and caught up with the Jack Jones situation.
Hey, JC, one thing. What I would really like to encourage fans about that who may want to bring up, Steph isn't putting up the numbers and everything. I'm sure you guys can remember that key third down where he hit Stephon on the out. Now we also look back to the Cincinnati playoff game. Steph was pissed because the team not because of the targets he wasn't getting, because of the time in the game where he wasn't being targeted. That's a key point in the game, man, where they had to pick up that third, and Josh put the ball there, man.
He had the two key plays to seal the deal. He had that out.
That's an encouraging sign right there.
Yep, he had the out in the slant to put the game on.
And those are key, like Mal just said. Those are key plays. Yeah, those are key plays, man. So if you're a fan out there, you're looking at that, take that into consideration too, man. Not just the targets, but when the targets come. You know what I mean? And when he's actually performing, man. That like James just said, those are key plays, man. He doesn't make those two catches. We might be talking a different story right now.
And the big thing is, I actually went back because I wanted to see what his targets were. His target share is not much different than it was for the majority of the season. It's just not connecting right now. And I think, like I said, you complete 2 or 3 of these passes, some of these games, and he may be over 100 or in the 80 range, 90 range. But obviously the misconnects didn't happen. So I think he bounced back this week, no doubt about it. I think that it's going to be a point from the bounce back this week. I think that the Bills know they're going to the playoffs. They need him fully engaged. The way you get Stephon Diggs fully engaged is getting Stephon Diggs the ball in the places and the spots that he likes it. I think that Josh, and I keep saying, I think that shoulder's healing. You can see his accuracy improving. So I think this is the week. And if I had to give a bold projection this week, I say Steph 7 for about 113. I think about 7 for 113 this week. I'm going to say that. That's what I think it's going to have. The other big story is obviously with the Patriots coming to Buffalo. Well, I thought I saved the thing up. Here we go. The Patriots coming to Buffalo. We have to ask the question, is it Bill Belichick's last game in Buffalo with the Patriots? Obviously, there's been a lot of reports out of New England. Now, conflicting. A couple weeks ago, it was that the Patriots knew and Robert Kraft knew after Germany that they were going to replace Bill Belichick. Now, there's reports saying he's conflicted. And Bill ain't saying nothing, which is, I think, should be worrisome. You don't ever know. Bill may leave on you. He may not stay, but I have to ask the question: do you guys think this is Bill Belichick's last game in Buffalo with the Patriots? I mean, obviously, I think he'll coach somewhere else. I'll come to you first. You think this is it for Bill?
Man. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough to call it, man. And with Bill being as stoic as he is, this dude gives you nothing to go off of, man. Like, he gives you no sound bites or anything like that. I think it really comes down to a big question of if Bill can find a spot, or if there is a spot where Bill can go to, that will give him both the GM and the coaching capabilities. You know what I'm saying? If he can't find a spot that's like that, I think he'll be more reluctant to go. But if he can, and let's say it's a team like the Chargers, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I think that seems a way more appealing to him, and he may cut bait. But man, it's so hard to call it, man. You see reports all the time. You know what I mean? Well, they feel this way, they feel that way. Oh, well, they're feeling a little indifferent. It's crazy, man. So I don't know.
If the Chargers are smart, I think they will go Bill Belichick, but I'm hearing Jim Harbaugh, so we'll see what happens with that. Mal, is it Hoodie's last game?
Hoodie
in Buffalo with the Patriots hoodie on.
I think so. Sometimes things run its course, right? And I don't think Bill Belichick is built for the rebuild that they need. Because let's be honest here, they need to kind of start fresh, right? You got to find the quarterback. Obviously, Mac Jones ain't it. You need to find receivers because the guys you got there ain't it. Yeah, you just need things, right? And if you look at a situation like the Chargers, they're built for Belichick, right? They're built for Belichick. If you really look at them, like you look at Khalil Mack and Bosa on them ends. If you get Bill Belichick, now we got to deal with the dude in the AFC. Even though he's not in the division, we have to Herbert. You know, it would make a lot of sense. Let's say that it would make a whole lot of sense. But I do think this is probably the last time we'll play him as the Pats head coach.
All right. So I thought it was over weeks ago, and obviously there's conflicting reports. And it seems to me 99% of the time when you hear that the reports are conflicting, it always ends up that it's over. That's what the confliction becomes. It ends, okay? It's like you're getting the text from the girl saying, hey, you know, I don't know if this is working out. 9 times out of 10, like, listen, there ain't no coming back from it. You can try, but it ain't gonna coming back from it. It's only a matter of time. And in the business of NFL, which is a shrewd business, that's it. So, like I said, I agree with D-Dot. I think he's going to have to go to a location that he's going to get full control. I think there's 2 teams that can offer him that, and I think that's going to be Washington and the Chargers. I think Washington has a new owner, Josh Harris, the Magic Johnson ownership group. They have a boatload of cash to throw at you. And I think that that may ultimately end up being the landing spot because I do think the Chargers are going to go hard at Jim Harbaugh, throw a lot of money at him. And I think being in California will be attracted to Jim Harbaugh.
Going back.
Yep. I think it makes sense for Bill Belichick to go to the Chargers. I think that's the best landing spot, but I don't think it's going to happen. Hell, it's the Chargers, and it is what it is. With that being said, I guess I have to ask the question, what is Bill Belichick's legacy in the AFC East as a coach? Because now without Tom Brady, his record is 81-103. James.
Oh, man. So it depends on who you ask. If you're asking me, his legacy, he's a legend, but there's an asterisk. Like, there's been cheating scandals. There have been some things going on, not taking away from what he's done. There's been some things there, though, that I personally won't ignore, being a former player and a football guy, right? I know people who have personally played for Bill Belichick, right? A teammate of mine in college played for him. And other guys, I know quite a few people who have played for Belichick. Also, after Tom Brady left, they've been at the basement in the division, and Tom Brady went and won a Super Bowl. That says something. But at the end of the day, he gonna be remembered. I'll remember him as a legend, though, for what he did. Period. But it will be some other things that pop in my head.
Yeah, I agree 110% with James, man. Now the question we have to ask is if Belichick goes somewhere else and he sees success, would that help his legacy? I believe it will. But once you have, two, as a matter of fact, once you have 2 GOATs, because don't forget, he had Lawrence Taylor out there in New York, but New Jersey Giants, New York Giants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had LT over there. And then all of a sudden you come across Tom Brady, man, and without a crazy hit to Drew Bledsoe, who knows what happens with that? But I mean, we can always talk different universes and everything and all hypotheticals. But it's just like how you even alluded to, JT. As soon as Tom Brady leaves, man, like all of a sudden everything just unravels for you. You know what I'm saying? So you really start getting into the discussion of, okay, well, did Brady make Belichick or did Belichick make Brady?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think at this point, that conversation is over. That conversation is over. Just like Vince Lombardi. And you can go through a line of great coaches: Vince Lombardi, Andy Reid. Andy's still winning right now. Marv Levy, throw his name in there too. I know he didn't. A lot of great coaches. You cannot win in the NFL without a quarterback. I don't care who you are. There's been above average coaches that have won with quarterbacks, and there have been great coaches who couldn't win shit without one. Bill Belichick just proved the point that coaches don't make teams. They help build culture, but quarterbacks win games. Doesn't matter if your defense holds the team to 10 points. If you can't score on offense, you can't win.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think Bill Belichick will go down as legend, but Bill Belichick has proven, if anybody has proven, that you can't win in this league without a quarterback, it's Bill Belichick. So he goes right in the same boat with Mike Shanahan to me. What happens when you take the Hall of Famer away? I love Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin's a hell of a football coach. Without Ben Roethlisberger, he ain't won nothing. Just saying.
But he hasn't won, but he hasn't lost either. Belichick is in the basement. The Steelers ain't never been in the basement.
Okay, but
we want to have that comparison.
We have the comparison, but if you're not winning Super Bowls when you're originally a Super Bowl winning coach, then you're not winning. You're losing. You're just losing less than the next guy.
Okay, so you're saying winning a Super Bowl, not winning in general. Because I look at it, it's tough when you saying that. Why I'm going into that is because, like, when you saying winning, right? You mean you're winning and you giving your team opportunity? Because I look at the playoffs a lot different than most people. Like, a lot of people are like, okay, you get to the playoffs and whatever, right? I think that means a lot because just being in the dance, that gives you the opportunity to go win the Super Bowl. And that matters to me, right? If you're not even getting to the playoffs, you don't even have the opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, right? So, like, just getting there, I think that's elite within itself, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? Like, you get to the dance, you got an opportunity. There has been the Giants. What was it, 500 a year when they won the Super Bowl? Like, it was something crazy. And you get there, you giving your team the opportunity. Belichick not even getting to the playoffs, man.
Well, he did once, and we steamrolled him. He did 2 years ago. He did get there, and we steamrolled him. It was a cool. They were out by the end of the first quarter.
So Brady's been gone there for 4 seasons now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it 4? So he made the playoffs once, and then 3. He missed it 3. Yeah. Made it once.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm just saying the point is, and like I said, I have to use Mike Tomlin example too. When you don't have that quarterback, you cannot win in this league.
Win the Super Bowl. You can't win a Super Bowl.
Let's just say Pittsburgh. Let's just say Pittsburgh got into the playoffs this year. What do you guys think the percentage is that Pittsburgh's going to go to the Super Bowl? If they win one playoff game, it'll be jumping for joy in Pittsburgh. Like, yes, our New Year resolution is to win one playoff game.
But the tricky part is this. Now look at the Browns, right? Yeah. They're going to get there and they're going to be dangerous because you get a quarterback that get kind of hot with Flacco, and then you got a defense. I'm not saying this is going to be the Steelers, but I'm just throwing it out there. You never know if a quarterback get hot. Dude, this dude Rudolph might get hot. You never know. I doubt it. The likelihood of that has happening is slim to none. But my point is, being in the playoffs makes it possible. If you're not there, it's not even possible. Being in the playoffs, at least there's a possibility. Yeah, exactly. I did. The Giants were 8-8 when they won the Super Bowl
with a Hall of Fame quarterback. I must say, gotta add with
Wait,
a
has Eli been elected yet?
He's going to be. All right, listen, it's
I was about to say, has he though?
It's a foregone conclusion. He's just not. The only thing that's stopping him is eligibility. It ain't like he ain't gonna be. He's gonna be in there. Okay, so it's not like it's the foregone. It's over. We're just waiting for that 5-year mark to hit up, and then he's going in.
I don't know if he's gonna be. Yeah, he'll get in. He'll get in.
He's a Manning. He's gonna be first ballot. Now, whether he deserves it or not, I can't. I'm not gonna say, but I'm just saying.
If he's first ballot and T.O. wasn't, I got a major problem with that.
We're not even gonna get into that. That's a whole different story for a different day, man. I'm
just saying.
All right, it's totally different. But
the second or third best receiver to ever live. Yeah.
That was wild. That was wild, but that's a rabbit hole.
So either way, what I'm gonna say about Bill is this: Bill has been proven to run a culture that only suits him, suits a lot of only the players that he drafts, suits only the coaches that coach under him, because his culture has not worked hardly anywhere else. Mike Vrabel does not run his culture. Mike Vrabel runs more of a Pittsburgh Steelers culture than he does a New England Patriot culture, okay, or the Patriot way. It has been proven that the Patriot way died the minute that Tom Brady left that team. And honestly, I'll say this about Bill Belichick too. If Bo Lewis never hits Drew Bledsoe on that sideline, Bill Belichick is probably fired within the next 2 or 3 years in New England. And we probably never hear about being a head coach again, because it's similar to what it was in Cleveland. An average coach with a pretty good defense and an offense that doesn't turn the ball over, and you can possibly squeak into the playoffs. Great. Good. End of the day, his legacy is going to be, a lot of people in Boston is going to say he's the greatest coach of all time, right? In my estimation, he's just a good football coach, just like the rest of them. I don't see much difference between him and Sean McDermott, besides Sean McDermott didn't have Tom Brady.
JT, was that your Boston accent?
It was close. It was close. It was close. I mean, that's what they're gonna say. That's what they're gonna say. He's the greatest coach of all time. You know.
The Massachusetts accent,
right? And but be honest. But by the numbers, it's gonna say yeah, he is. By the rings, it's gonna say he is. But I think deep down, we really realize that it's just he's good, but he's not the end all be all, and no coach can be the end all be all without a quarterback. And I think he's proven it. So I think it's his last game in Buffalo with the Pats. I do. I think it's time for the Pats to move on. But I will say this about New England: if you're going to pick somebody off his staff right now to come in there and rebuild as a bridge, then I think you're an idiot, because you're not really truly starting fresh. You need to change everything and scrap everything. But I will say this: great job, Bill. Commend you on your time in New England. And I don't think this will ever be repeated, this run he's had. It'll never be repeated. But then again, I also don't think that Tom Brady's going to be repeated either. So with that being said, he can keep coaching somewhere else. Hopefully this is his last game. I don't want to see him anymore. I personally don't care. We beat the holy hell out of him every game now anyway, it seems like. So it's not even a test or a rivalry. And I get no more pride of beating up on Bill Belichick and the Patriots no more. So bon voyage, do what you do, go where you go. I really don't care. Stay away from the Chargers. Other than that, final thoughts. D Dot, I'll let you go first, as you were the guest of the night, and close out with James. Going into this Patriot game, final thoughts, man. Baltimore Dolphins. Any thoughts on anything that's going to happen this weekend?
Yeah. So first and foremost, man, I want to thank you guys again for having me on, man. This is a hell of a lot of fun to be able to talk ball. You know what I mean? Me and James talk ball all the time. JT, when we're together, you know what I'm saying, we see each other, we talk ball as well. So this is something that comes naturally, but it's fortunate enough to be able to get on here with you guys. I'm just excited to see what the Bills are going to do in these last couple of games. I love the momentum. I love the identity the team has. I love the aspect that the team is not soft. I forgot who said that one time on here before, but they commented that Sean McDermott's teams may be soft. You got to be careful. Me and James talked about this before. You got to be careful about throwing that phrase out there, man. These are grown men and these are professionals. So they're showing that they're not soft. They're showing that they have fortitude. And I'm excited to see how they impose their will on the other teams. As far as Boston, Miami, man, I'm sorry, Baltimore, Miami. I think Baltimore is gonna give them a go. I think they're gonna give them a go, and I think they're gonna hand Miami that L. Tua, if you ever pay attention to Tua's footwork, man, he takes a shuffle drop, like they call it a Brady drop. And if his first read's not there, he got to go to that second window. And when he holds onto that ball, man, he's not the biggest guy, he's not the tallest guy. That pocket starts closing in on dude. That's when them big bodies can, push that pocket a little bit. So I think Baltimore has the guys to do it, and I'm really excited to really see that game, man, and see how they operate.
Overall, great football going on right now in NFL. Not even just Bills football, great football. Period. Man,
Yes.
final thought.
All right, I think Bills are going to come out and take care of business. I think they're going to be amped up back home. I think we'll be able to take care of business, and I make a bold prediction that we will clinch a playoff spot this week. I think that's going to happen. And hopefully Baltimore do take care of business, so we have an opportunity to go ahead and handle business next week and be able to take the division from them. Y'all know how I feel. I really don't care if we win the division or not. I really don't. I just want us to get into the playoffs and take care of business. It'd be cool, but I don't think it's as important as what people may want to make it out to be. But I think don't be surprised if New England. It's going to be one of two things. It's going to be a close game, or New England going to come out fighting, or we're going to blow the doors off. It's going to be one of the two. I don't think it'd be one of those middle of the pack games. It's either we're going to dominate them or it's going to be kind of close. But I'm kind of on the side that we're going to whoop they behind. So I think it'd be a good game. I just want everybody to come out healthy and just take care of our business and come out with that W.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Bills are going to come out there, and I'm sorry to say this, but I think they're going to wipe the floor with them. We owe them for that earlier season loss. That was a bad loss that we took. And if we didn't take that loss, we wouldn't be sitting in this position right now. Okay, we'd be talking a whole different story right now, especially with that Baltimore Dolphin game going on. Whether Miami won that game or lost that game particularly, you'd be playing in Week 18 for the division regardless if they won or lost. So with that being said, I think that the Bills do want to come back. They do want to steal this AFC East title from the Dolphins, but more importantly, the second seed. That's what we're playing for. We're playing for the second seed. And God forbid you get the wrong matchup or Baltimore beats Miami and then they get the wrong matchup in their second round game and they take an L. But we've seen this before in Baltimore. You're talking about an AFC championship game in Buffalo. Now, mind you, you guys know I'm not huge on home field advantage for the Bills or things as such. But I think an AFC championship game going to possibly go to Super Bowl would be a different environment for them. Okay, I believe this team is built to be road warriors in general. I think that they come out fired up and more juiced up on the road than they do at home most of the times, to be honest with you, with the fast starts. Even if they let teams come back in late, but the fast starts, I feel like happens on the road 9 times out of 10. But with that being said, I still think that a AFC championship game in Buffalo would be similar to what's in the early 90s, where it's like, we're not going to lose this game. With that being said, I mean, I think they come out, they take care of business, and I don't know. I think Baltimore gets Miami. I thought Miami was going to take the L versus Dallas last week, and Dallas couldn't do us not one damn favor.
But you know what's not to happen. Miami about to run out of gas. They're literally fighting for their lives here on out. Not that we not, but theirs is different. They literally are got to scratch and claw. They had to win that game, right? They backs against the wall. They got to win this game. Then obviously the Week 18 game is going to be huge, right? It's a lot of pressure on them Dolphins, man. It's a different type of pressure, especially when they haven't won the division in a while.
Yep, don't forget they just lost a key weapon, man. Waddle, potentially lost a key weapon. Waddle is out with a high ankle sprain, man, and that's not something to scoff at, man. He puts up pretty good production.
Well, I tell you what, you get to this game versus Buffalo and you lose. I mean, you take him off the football field, or if you even put him on the football field at 50%, this is a different Dolphin team. Because, like I said, there's not a lot of depth there. There's not a lot of versatility there either with that football team. You miss one or two people, and it severely damages you.
Yeah, and don't forget, Tyreek Hill still not. He had to pull himself out the game a few times last week. His ankle's still tender. So
Yep, he's still banged up. Yep.
Yeah. So that being said, I think Buffalo wins this game. I think Baltimore beats Miami, and I think we get that Week 18 game down to Miami for the division and the number 2 seed. And guess what? If Buffalo pulls that off, hey, it was a lot of naysayers, like you say, James. A lot of naysayers on the season about not making the playoffs. Now
Some
you went to the number 2 seed.
Emotional ass people, man. Relax. Let them work. I hate the emotional. I do this. Fire the coach. Get rid of him. Relax. We got work to do still, but just relax.
But either way, man, I want to say thank you for D-Dot joining the show tonight. I appreciate you coming on. Mal, as always, I was giving the insight, giving the locker room feel for the show. And let's just go get this, John. Let's come back here next week. Let's come back 10 and 6.
10 and 6, yeah.
Come back 10 and 6. Let's get ready for the trip to Miami. And let's pull this thing off, man. They can do it. They can definitely do it. But like I said, thank you to Dallas for blowing it for us. You didn't help us at all. You had one damn job to do and you didn't do it, but it is what it is.
Well, they did take care of business physically. They beat them up, but we'll talk more.
Yeah. All that, guys, great show. We'll be back next week, probably around the same time. Well, actually, we'll probably be back on Tuesday. So, I know this week, because of holidays, we got everything got pushed back a day. But, yeah, as always, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tapping in, talking to us, questions, other things like that. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.